Today I'm going to show you how to create these, I don't know if you'd call them rusted, but definitely nasty looking, grungy hinge pieces that I used on my toolbox. There was a little bit in my video, but in case you didn't catch it, we're going to go step by step on how to create these. And for me, it was kind of a learning process. So I did change some things up, so we're going to do things a little bit different than how I did these originally in the video. So I was really going for a corrugated look, and what I did was I ran them through my paper crimper to start. I just have a regular large Marvy paper crimper. It was very difficult to run the hinges through. It did not like the hinges going sideways. So for the rest of these, I did not corrugate them, but you can see that I corrugated the ones on the end, and it's a really cool look. So I would strongly recommend corrugating. This one is corrugated. I would strongly recommend corrugating to kind of give it that extra look, almost like a tarnished tin type feel. For this project though, I am wanting to use the brass color, the tarnished brass that came with the Technique kit for the month of June. So first what I did was I took a piece of chipboard, just a hinge piece, and you shake up the tarnished brass because it's got the paint in it, so it's got that paintball, and you really need to get it shook up good. What I did was I heat set mine and did 2 coats. And if you leave the bubbles in it, you kind of get a mottled effect that's really cool. Kind of gives you a little extra texture to it. Then I went in with Vintage Photo, and this I did not do over the whole thing. I just did little pieces here and there. And then I went over again the same spots. So now these 2 pieces are at the same level. The next part of what I did, and this part's a little bit different than what's shown on the video. I kind of came across this after I did my first pieces. I wanted if you look at tin when it rusts, it's got a reddish tone to it. So I used rusty hinge. And what I did was I first applied it directly to the piece and then used my finger to kind of smooth it out. And with that Vintage Photo, you might even want to, if you have walnut, do walnut stain instead of Vintage Photo because it would be a lot darker. You could almost leave these pieces just as they are if you're looking for something a little bit more metallic and less grungy. For the last part of this technique, I used Distress Powder, and I used it in the walnut color, walnut stain. And what I do is I just take my perfect medium and I just kind of apply it only in certain areas. And then what I found was I was getting these lines. Like, this is going to be hidden behind a flower, so I don't care that it's a square, but otherwise I really would kind of care. And so you just take your finger and you just kind of smear it around. And you can either pour it on or you can dip it in some you already have. And if it's too covered for you, just take your finger and kind of brush some off before you start heat setting. You can also kind of blow on it. And once it starts to get really melty and gooey, go ahead and put it in for a second round. And some of them I even went as far as to do 3 rounds. And then what you end up having is a really aged metallic piece. I don't even know what you would call it, but it just, if you want the metal to show more, you would just do less. If I was going to do tin, I would probably use the pewter color instead, but I would still do the rust. We were in Joe's Crab Shack the other night, and they have a whole corrugated tin roof, and it's very, very cool on the inside, and there was a lot of red with it. So try it with the pewter and with the rusty hinge color and see what you come up with. Do as many layers or as few layers as you want. The sky's the limit. Make it your own. And we're going to add some gesso to them. And this just kind of helps soften that black. You can keep it this way if you want. You can even keep it without having any of the powder on it. But what you're going to do for this is you want to take your brush and you might even want to use a dry brush. This I've been using all day. And you just kind of dab, because you don't want full coverage. You want it splotchy. You want it intermittent. It just kind of helps give it a shabbier look than with the black being all stark. Like I said, this is going to be hid behind a flower, so I don't really care about that part. And you can see from the first pieces that we did, as the gesso dries, it kind of gives more of an opaque appearance, or a translucent appearance, rather than the super dark opaque appearance that comes through. And also, if you get some on the red from the rusty hinge, it kind of picks up on that rusty hinge color, and it turns the gesso kind of a reddish, brownish, yellowish-ish color. It's very cool. And there's our tarnished pieces. Thanks for watching.